Well, good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful, sunny May day here in Germany. I've been pretty busy because I woke up at 5, as I usually do. And today is toilet day in my house. So, I cleaned the bathrooms and cleaned the rugs and dealt with the dogs and did all my Apple updates, which annoyingly have to all be done at the same time, I guess. And right now I'm just waiting for a couple more rugs to be finished washing, and then I will dry those. It's very exciting to be a housewife in Germany. But it's a small price to pay because last night my husband and I booked a trip for next month. I will be having my birthday, and we like to go away for my birthday, and this year we're going to Lithuania. So that should be interesting. We've never been. We have been to Latvia and Estonia, but only on cruises. So this time it'll be 5 nights in Lithuania, and that should be a lot of fun. I wanted to talk a little bit today about, some of the shit that's going on in the world right now, and how Donald Trump is freaking out. And I think it's because Joe Biden has announced that he has cancer. And in doing this, he is inspiring people to be sympathetic or empathetic, and attention is being taken away from Trump. So rather than being a normal adult and a decent human being, Trump is now spouting off all this ridiculous bullshit about whether or not Biden hid his condition, as if Trump wouldn't, if he had prostate cancer. Like, you think that Trump would actually talk about that? Probably not, especially if it was prostate cancer. But, and his son making comments about Dr. Jill Biden and why didn't she know that he had cancer? Well, she has a doctorate in education, so it's not exactly in her wheelhouse. But even if she were a medical doctor, I would hope that she wouldn't be trying to treat her husband. That would be unethical. Anyway, we were talking about that this morning, and I was like, you'd think that Trump would want to be leading the country. I mean, that's what he ran for that last year. And we were all forced to listen to him talk about people in Ohio eating cats and dogs, and him avoiding sharks and batteries, and God, what else did he say? And it's been quite the shit show since he was installed in January. And for some reason this morning I was reminded of a case that occurred in 2019. And this, of course, was, I guess, nearing the end of Trump's first term. And I read this news article about these 2 guys in Rogers, Arkansas. Charles Eugene Ferris, who was 50 years old at the time, and Christopher Hicks, who was 36. Now, these 2 guys were sitting outside in the backyard drinking beer. Charles Eugene Ferris had a bulletproof vest, and he decided that he wanted to try it out. So he asked his friend, who had I guess it was a .22 caliber rifle, if he would shoot him so he could try out this vest, see if it worked. Also, bear in mind these 2 were drinking, so they had a firearm. Well, Mr. Hicks decided to oblige his friend, and he shot him. And the vest worked. But it was painful, as you would assume it would be. So Mr. Ferris got pissed off and gave the vest to Hicks to put on, and he shot him back. again, the vested job. Later, I guess Mr. Ferris was in pain, so his wife wisely asked him to go to the emergency room. So he did, and he went there. And of course, the staff was wondering what happened, and they were suspicious. So he gave them a bullshit story about how some gunmen had come at I can't even remember what it was. It was a story full of holes, and it was obvious he was lying. Something about being paid $200 to protect something, and these gunmen came and tried to take it, and didn't make any sense. Well, Mr. Ferris's wife came clean with the staff, and she said, well, they were out in the backyard drinking beer, and they decided to test out this bulletproof vest. And that is why they are, why he is here. The staff called the police, and the two of them were both charged with aggravated assault and held on $5,000 bonds. And I don't know how this case ended. But the point is, as I was reading it back in 2019, I thought to myself, I'll bet you these two are Trump supporters. Now, back in 2019, you could still look up Mr. Ferris. He had a rather prominent and open a presence on Facebook. So I found him easily. I don't think I found the other guy, although I'm sure he was there. Anyway, I went on Mr. Ferris's page, and there was a shitload of pro-Trump crap on there, along with a lot of pro-life stuff and a lot of racist shit about how illegals had infested America and they were taking over and we needed to do something about them. And well, he also claimed to be a religious leader of some sort, and he wore this robe that was suspiciously reminiscent of what you would see the Klan wear. But he didn't. He said this was part of, whatever the religious movement he was involved with was wearing. Well, as you know, I've mentioned I'm also a blogger, so I wrote a blog post about this. And one of my friends, and she is actually still a friend, but she doesn't interact with me anymore, and I think it's because she is a Trumper, and I am very much not one. And at that time, for my blog, I had a Facebook page, and one of her friends read my post, and this guy was a big-time gun enthusiast and Trump supporter, and he got angry. And he said, this isn't Trump's fault that he did this. And I said, I never said it was his fault. I never said that Donald Trump made these guys do this. What I'm saying is, I didn't know these guys, but I knew who they were supporting based on their actions. I never said Donald Trump made them do it. I never said he encouraged them to do it. I said I knew who they were supporting politically based on this story. And when I went to check it out, sure enough, I was right. And it was boldly on display. So the guy got all pissed off at me and just, he was very indignant and he was like, typical liberal response. Listen, I'm not a liberal, okay? Maybe I am, but I don't think I am really. I'm more of a centrist. I actually do agree with some conservative policies. I don't agree with MAGA. I don't agree with what the Republican Party has turned into. But for a long time, I did vote Republican, and there are many issues that Republicans talk about that I can understand. I'm not voting for them. I'm not voting for anything until Trump is gone and I wouldn't even consider it. In fact, I don't think I will ever vote for a Republican again because I'm so angry that we have this man in office. But I did have some sympathy for people on the right. I grew up in a southern town myself, around many people who were Republicans. So I could understand. And I don't hate them. I never did. But if I can tell who you are supporting based on idiotic things you do, and then I can easily find out and verify that my suspicions are correct, it kind of says something, doesn't it? And now that I'm thinking about it, I think the reason why this came up was because yesterday I was watching a true crime, it was a body cam video, and it was about this guy who got busted with like 15 cell phones and a bunch of Xanax. He was going to take it to the county jail. And I know that cell phones are forbidden in jail. And certainly Xanax is too. But there's a big business involved with that. And people do get cell phones. Well, he got busted. But when he was, I had to stop watching the video. I don't even know how it ended, because the guy had on his car a gigantic decal, like one of those magnetic decals, and it said Trump Vance 2024. And yet here he was with a whole buttload of phones and drugs for criminals. Or maybe not criminals, but people that are in jail. And no doubt making a lot of money from it. So it kind of made me think of those guys in Arkansas who decided that they needed to test out their bulletproof vest. And then when they decided they needed medical care, and actually one of them had to be told to go and get medical care by his wife, he gives them a bullshit lie story. It's obviously not true. And the two of them wound up getting arrested. And I read it and I know it's a Trump supporter. And my original point back in 2019 when I wrote about this was, do you want to be lumped in with people that do this kind of thing? That if I read a story about you in the paper or watch a video, I know who you're voting for by your dumb actions. Now, I know that people are probably not going to like this video. I'll probably get a lot of shit for it. But come on. It's the truth, isn't it? It's the truth. And if you made it to the end, I would like to invite you to check out my posts. I made a post the other day that I find rather amusing. This has nothing to do with the guys in Arkansas. This is a fact that the other day I was sitting looking at my YouTube page, and I noticed I had a picture of Caroline Leavitt because I did a parody about her. Right next to it, there's a picture of me, and I look just like her. But I don't vote for the same person she does, so. Anyway, I think Noisy needs something, so I'm going to stop recording now. But just think about this. Do you want to be lumped in with guys that do this kind of thing? That sit in the backyard and get drunk and shoot each other with a gun so they can test out a bulletproof vest? I mean, these are probably people that believe that folks in Ohio are eating cats and dogs. So have a good day. See you next video.